What's up, everyone? So today we are going to be taking care of this mess right here. We're going to be trimming up the Amazon Frogbit roots. We're going to be trimming a little bit of moss, and in between all that I'll talk about how I maintain this Caridina shrimp tank. So if you don't already know, Caridina shrimp, they are a soft water shrimp that is a little more finicky than your straight up Neocaridinas. Your Neocaridinas are your just basic like red cherry shrimp, blue dreams, blue jellies, blue velvets, whatever you want to call them. There's a couple like other really shrimp or Neocaridinas, but what I have in this tank is a blend of red crystal shrimp or RCS and BCS, and I also have some snow whites, some Michelins, which have some Taiwan bee genes in them. And then of course, if you've seen my fish room tour, you already know that I have a decent amount of Buce in this tank, a whole bunch of mosses. I have basically every moss that I've ever owned or kept. There is some growing in this tank. Have a couple of just random dwarf sage and S. repens there as well. And that's about it for what's in this tank. So first things first, let's talk about all of these roots. I'm going to go ahead and start trimming them while I'm talking. Basically, these roots, whoa, that's not going to work out so well, is it? That's the slight downside to when you let roots grow so long, is that they pick up everything. Like, do you see how long that is? That is a huge root. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to stick it over here on the right side of the tank, and then I use just some mesh with some binder clips, and I just stick it across the side of the tank, and this will be like my guide. It'll keep all of the freshly trimmed Frogbit on the right side of the barrier. So basically, this tank, I don't do too much maintenance. I touch it maybe once every 4 weeks or so. I don't really like to get my hands in it at all. Hardly ever. Only when I need to, only when I have to trim something. And if I can, I avoid putting my hand in here at all costs. I use some tweezers. You know, ideally I would be picking up all the Frogbit with tweezers, but there's so much of it to trim that it's just, I don't have enough time today to carefully go about it. But if you're not aware, shrimp, they like to not have many things change about their environment. That's how you'll get them breeding, is if you don't mess with them very much and just let them do their thing. I have found that to be true. I left this tank unattended for 4 weeks. I do have an auto top off, which is how I kept the water levels consistent in this tank. That helped minimize some of the negative effects of water evaporating. Basically, I just have a Tom aqua lifter pump, and it is connected to it's connected to this float switch right here, which I don't know if you could hear that click. Maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't. But basically, when the water level drops, the switch gets activated and completes the circuit, which then turns on the power to the Tom's aqua lifter pump. It's really important though that if you're gonna try and make one of these, you don't want to run a whole lot of power through your tank. You don't want 120 volts coming through this side right here. It's actually it's bumped down to about 12 volts. If you're interested in seeing how that is done, I can definitely make a video on it if there's interest. But basically, that just fills up my tank while I'm away, while I'm at school, while I'm busy studying, doing whatever. I just let this tank be, and it does its thing. But the only reason why I feel like I can successfully do that is because I let this Frogbit go wild. So everything in here gets trimmed periodically, which is what's happening right now. And it kind of is like the reset. All of these pieces of Frogbit, their roots will, within a couple of within a very short time we'll already be back and growing to the very bottom of the tank again. But basically all of the waste that comes from a shrimp is not a whole lot, but all of that waste is getting absorbed by these Frogbit, these fast-growing plants. And basically, if you think about it, I don't add nutrients, I don't dose this tank, I don't do anything extra. I don't even change the water that often. You know, sometimes you can introduce new nutrients when you do a water change. But this tank gets pure top off from 0 TDS distilled water, and that's it. So obviously there has to be some sort of ammonia, nitrite building up, and there has to be, I mean, it's obviously the tank is very well cycled because it's able to grow like this. I wouldn't say, you know, go like from the very start you're good to go 4 weeks without touching it, which, well, no, actually, if you're starting the tank, you do want to go about 4 weeks without touching it, but you don't want to have any plants in there, or not plants, you don't want to have any shrimp or fish in there at that time. But once you get it established, and by establishing it, what I did for this tank was I left it. This tank was actually at my house. This is not my house, I'm at my apartment right now. But it was at my house underneath my bathroom, and I let it cycle. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. I was super excited. It was super bare, not a whole lot in it, and I was getting really excited to get back into Caridina shrimp at the time. But what I did was I just left it sit there underneath my bathroom sink, and it sat there for, oh, I don't know, probably 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe. And then I got a few shrimp after I brought this tank to my apartment. And so whenever I added the shrimp, or sorry, whenever I was cycling the tank, I would add some food periodically just to let it break down. I didn't add anything crazy, I didn't do too much. There are methods out there like the SL Aqua cycling method, which can really boost your biofilm. The other thing I did have in here at the time when it was cycling was some Indian almond leaves, so those could start breaking down. But basically, if you look at here, even with these dead leaves, I'll just let them sit there and decompose and whatever, and the shrimp will come and eat on them and all that kind of stuff. But when you're cycling, you definitely just want to let your tank sit. You don't want to do much of anything to it, and you want it to establish. So whenever I moved this tank, it was a little bit of a hassle though. The water was basically black because it was jostling around like crazy. But after it cleared up, I did get my first round of shrimp. I started off with 8 pure red lines that I made a trade for, which worked out really well it worked out well for me. I was happy with it. I got rid of some plants that I wasn't all too attached to. And I feel like I gave the person who got my plants, I feel like I gave him a good value of plants for what he valuated his shrimp at. So I got the shrimp, and then I kept them for a while, and they started to breed slightly. I got some babies, but the first round did not make it. And maybe they did, but I was seeing babies one day, and then all of a sudden there was no more babies, which yeah, no, I don't know, a number of things could have happened to them. But you know, it was all good. I kept going. I think at that point in time, I don't really remember because it's been almost a year now, but I think at that point in time I was doing some maybe slightly more frequent water changes. I did manage to get a fair number of distilled water bottles. I didn't have the auto top off at the time, so the parameters were still fluctuating a decent amount. But if I started this tank probably before August, I had babies in here by, well, I went back to school mid-August. I had babies in here probably by November, but those were the ones that did not make it. And so I left early December for Christmas break, and left this tank completely blank. Or not completely blank, but completely by itself. I did a fresh trim of the Frogbit like what I'm doing right now, and then other than that, had the auto top off set up. Oh, I mean, I added a food source. I'll talk about that in a second, but other than that, it was all just ready to go. And I mean, this plant right here, Frogbit, is a lifesaver. It just absorbs every bit of ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, whatever we got going on that's going to harm fish or shrimp in this case, and it just absorbed it all. So between that and I have a decent amount of filtration on this tank, that's how I'm able to prolong the water changes. And when I do water changes, I don't even do 50% or 20%. I do like 10%. I take off maybe half a gallon to a gallon, and then I slowly let my auto top off fill it back up. Wow, I'm making a mess over here. I wasn't really paying attention. Oh well. But yeah, so that is how that all goes down. And I was able to leave this for 4 weeks, came back, and there were babies all over the place. If you see, like right here on this moss ledge, I'm not sure if you can see it. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. Okay, maybe over this one. Can you see this shrimp? Sorry, I'm like trying to look at my camera, but this shrimp right here was a juvenile baby when I came back at the time. And so they are growing up, they're doing well, they're surviving. But the one thing I did put in for a food source was a, what was it called? It was a cinnamon spring roll or something like that. I don't know. I think I got it from Biped Shrimp. I have a video. I have video clips on it, how to prepare it and all that stuff. That video kind of fell behind, but I could definitely put that out if people are interested in that. So other than that, I've been slowly adding in plants, more mosses. Obviously, I've expanded to the front glass. Didn't really want to do that, but I couldn't pass up on this opportunity. Got some I think it's Cameroon moss right there, which is pretty rare. So I'm hoping that grows well. I also picked up this spiky moss on wood from buceplant.com. I got the Cameroon moss from Aquatics, spiky moss on wood from Buce Plant. And yeah, I don't know. Whenever I see a new moss and it looks like it's a decent quantity for a decent price, I'm not going to pass on it because I'm slowly building my collection. And I'm about to, oh, that's not going to be pretty. I just pulled on one of those roots and it's about to yank up the whole piece of driftwood down there. So yeah, anyways, these Frogbit is honestly the best plant you can have in your tank. I started off with just a few pieces. Same as with the project tanks, I put just a few pieces in and kind of just let it do its thing. Some of it dies off if it's too hot of light. Some of it grows and it gets huge leaves. I haven't quite figured out what causes what yet, or you know, any of that kind of stuff. My guess is when it dies off, it probably gets burned, or a mixture of getting burned and it just getting submerged. That's the surefire way to kill some Amazon Frogbit, is to not pay attention to it and let the water from a hang-on back filter keep it submerged. That's how I managed to kill off the Frogbit in my Scapers tank. It just it kept getting hit under the water and wouldn't really bounce back. But you know, these roots, as long as you're not too worried about everything getting picked up or kicked up when you pull it all around, you know, you can let them grow for quite some time. Obviously it makes a little bit of a mess and all that kind of good stuff right there. I think what I'm going to do is, I got a little bit of a problem over here because it's all tangled up in this moss. So I'm going to try and take that out. And then I haven't really looked at the Buce that's in this tank because it's been hiding. this entire time. So I think what I'll do is go ahead and show off some of the Buce and how well it's growing. I mean, I hope it's growing well. That would be kind of awkward if it's not. But we'll do a little investigation on some of the plants, see how well everything's going. Yeah, wow, this one is all intertwined in this moss, which is doing really well. It's really nice and bushy, which that makes me happy. I'm happy about that. This is kind of like my mystery box tank, you know, like I stick stuff in here and then I let these roots grow over and I don't really think about it for quite some time, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I probably should trim all that moss. It's nice because I usually just sell it on a Facebook group or something to someone else who wants some portions of it, and it brings a nice couple of extra dollars to further support my addiction to plants. I feel like I started off, and I was more, or when I first started off in this hobby, I was more interested into fish, and then I saw planted tanks, and I said, ah, my goodness, I must try that. And then I did try it, and I failed epically. My first plants I got were from Dustin's fish tanks, and I killed them all. Not to mention, I paid a decent amount for it. Not to bash Justin or anything, but the whole limit where you have to spend $40 before you can check out or whatever that he has going on, that's I mean, good business tactic, but for a beginner it's really not ideal. If you listen to my last talk on how to buy aquarium plants online, I mentioned that, you know, the best way is to buy single portions. I can probably rack up a nice decent variety of plants from like Aquatics, and for under $20 get all of that shipped to my house, and everything is wonderful, submerged grown in his tank and all that good stuff. So, you know, I would definitely suggest that if you're new and you're watching this, maybe try and avoid some of those bigger places. Go reach out to the smaller business people. I don't even know if he's smaller per se. Well, Aquatics, yeah, he's definitely smaller than Dustin. Dustin has some crazy reach because of YouTube, but you know, don't stick to what everyone is telling you. You know, do listen to what I'm telling you, obviously. I'm just kidding, but I do. Yeah, I would definitely recommend check out Aquatics if you're new and you're looking for some plants. You really can't go wrong with anything on his website. And if you're not sure if it's going to grow well in your tank, you can obviously either ask me or ask him. I don't know everything about plants, and I constantly ask Han questions related to the plants that I'm buying. You know, sometimes I'll say, hey, or what I did over with my project tanks, I recently got 2 new stems of low-tech plants. I got a limnophilia or something, I don't know how you pronounce that, and I got a bacopa, I think. And there's no way I would have picked those out if I was just shopping online through his store. He recommended them to me, and so far they have taken off. They perked right up, they're ready to go. So I probably won't get to it this week, but next week when I get back to my apartment, I will make a video on how to trim plants, and those will be the first subjects of the video. So okay, now that I've cleaned all the roots up, everything's trimmed, I'm going to just use this turkey baster to lightly, you know, just puff some of the dirt off so it goes back to the bottom. I just don't like having it everywhere. Look at that red bolt with some stripes on it. You know, I'm not really looking for anything particular in this tank. Some people might say, oh, you have pure redline shrimp mixed with a whole bunch of low quality. Yes, I know, I do. And I know that doesn't really help the hobby. I know, especially if you know, I mean, if you're into shrimp keeping, you know that the U.S. has a major lack of quality when it comes to shrimp. We seem to settle for what's cheapest. I hate to say it, but I do kind of agree. I would much rather buy cheaper than quality. Quality freaks me the hell out because I'm just going to kill it all. That's, yeah, I don't know. The one thing I will buy quality of is guppies. I've got my guppies coming in from Guppy Train, hopefully early May. I'm gonna not put them in the project tanks like I originally planned. I am going to end up putting them in the tank that has my angelfish. Hopefully I'll be able to sell off my angelfish this weekend when I'm back in Houston. But we'll see how it goes. Alright, so look at that. I don't know how well that's picking up, but this moss sitting up here is nice and bushy. I think it's no longer attached to the driftwood. Either that or it's attached further back. I can't really tell. But yeah, that's really awesome. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my aquascaping towel that's over on my rack. If you've seen the video on how I reuse the parts from the distilled water bottle, you know I hang this over there on that rack, but I'm not in this tank enough to put another towel holder over here, so I'll just have to, whoops, that didn't sound good. What did I drop? Oh well. Anyways, let's go ahead and dig for some Buce and see what we have. So obviously I've washed my hands a whole lot before I'm going to stick them in the tank. So let's just go ahead and see what we have right here. Alrighty. We got some roots from so here are some Buce. Whoa, that's kind of cool coloration. Let me see if you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So you can see. I'm not sure what this is, to be completely honest. I'm not sure if this is the mini Catherine or it might be one of the new small ones I got from Buce Plant. I'm not sure. But yeah, these are looking good, which is wonderful. Let's see. Got some dead moss. Wonder what happened to that. We have the yeah, we are making a mess. Here's one of the Buces. Again, I don't remember the name. I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own video and see what it was. But those are doing well. This one right here, I know which one this one is. Yeah, man, these roots are like catching on to all the places, or all the rocks. This one is the black centipede. Not sure what's wrong with that leaf right there, these two in the front, but it looks healthy. It's perked up. Let's see what else we got. I believe we have a mini Catherine right here. Yes, so this one is mini Catherine, and it does look very similar to the other plant, so I would assume that that is what the other one was. Those leaves look kind of cool. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It might not be the best. Might be lacking some nutrients, but it is what it is. Here, I'm going to show y'all this plant. This is I think it's called Metallica, Brownie Metallica or something. I got this from Han, and it is oh wow, it is, first of all, it's stuck to the piece of driftwood. I probably shouldn't be pulling it up, but I'm going to do it to show the video. Come on. Wow, it really attached itself. This plant is super awesome. Brownie Metallica. Looks like it's doing well. Getting nice and bushy. You can definitely tell the roots are taking over this piece of lava rock. So that's really awesome. Here, we'll go ahead and show off some of the mosses as well. Actually, maybe we won't show off. Oh, yeah. Well, this one's kind of attached to the ledge there. It looks dead, but I promise you it's not. It's Hawaiian waterfall moss. It's really rare, that's why it's on that 1x1 square mesh. But it's super cool. It takes forever to grow. Here, let's pick up the peacock moss. This son of a gun is... Whoops, I am pulling up everything. Wow, this one is dense. So here we have a nice big mat of peacock moss. Yeah, super awesome. I just got it stuck on some stainless steel mesh, and then I just let it sit on top of one of the Aquatics moss ledges and let it do its thing. I think I'm probably going to pull out some of this Christmas moss since it's already ready to come on out. I might just sell it as a big ball and see if someone's interested in it. Yeah, let's see. Gotta separate the two. Wow, yeah. This is a huge mess. Let me see if I can... I don't want to pull it out all the way because I feel like there may be babies up in there, which is kind of worrying me. But hey, let's do it anyway, shall we? Alright, I'm gonna stop this real quick. I'm gonna go dump all of this out, and then we'll be back to investigate this big pile of moss. Alright, so I got a different Tupperware and it has a lid. I'm going to bring all of this mini Christmas moss with me. I know some people were not so pleased with my DIY how to make video when I said how to make a modified moss ledge. I was new to it and I learned from it obviously, but I didn't show what it looked like with moss growing on there. Little did I know, I totally forgot, I've done this before, but I have a ledge growing back here with flame moss on it. I'm not going to pull it out of the tank, but I'll try and snag a picture of it. But yeah, I'll definitely fill this up with some moss, get it growing in a tank somewhere, either at my house or I don't know where, we'll see. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to gently just kind of bring this moss up and down out of the water, hopefully giving any little critters that are in here a chance to flee if they feel threatened, which they definitely should because I'm pulling them up out of the water. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and grab this root. It's going to pull it all apart. Oh well. Okay, there we go. Got some Frogbit still in there. So here we have a huge portion of mini Christmas moss. Yeah, started off on my tank. I don't know what happened. It looks like it just didn't want to stay attached any longer. But yeah, that's super cool. Super fluffy, super dense. It's been growing just right up underneath all that light all that time, so I'm not really surprised that it did well. There's also in that tank another mystery moss, which I don't know what it is. I got it when I ordered some shrimp a while ago. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take this black mesh real quick and make a little divider type thing, which is too big, but oh well. Maybe I'll have to use another piece or trim this one. I'll trim this one. Alright, let's see. So we need to go down at least a little ways. I've got tons of this mesh lying around. Every once in a while I'll just go pick up another piece. I'll convince myself that I'm going to need it at some point in time. And I use it for all sorts of things, which is great. So I'm going to divide that moss. So I got Christmas moss, mini Christmas on the left side. Now I'm going to pull up my unknown moss and put it in there as well. Let me just transfer all of these over. Alright, so I got all this Frogbit moved over. I'm going to face them right side up and make sure that they are going to be good to flourish and grow again. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put these protection, or these little guards, back in the tank. Alright, and so now all of this moss on this side right here has been growing, and I don't know what it is, so I'm going to gently try and take it out. I don't know if it's going to come well or not. I think my hidden portion of Subwassertang, or however the crap you pronounce any of these names, this moss is hiding back here as well. So let me hold that down. I'll just kind of pull this out. So yeah, I've just got mounds and mounds of moss. And that's really all just from being patient, waiting, not moving anything around, just letting it all be, letting it grow. I'm not saying I grow it the fastest, but I definitely grow it. Yeah. And obviously some of the bottom pieces are slightly browned out a little bit, but that really isn't an issue, because they're all capable of growing nice healthy moss when you implement it in a new environment. Whoops, I grabbed a string of mini palea. Alright, here's some more of that moss. Alright, let's see. I put a few little strands of, you know what? Here, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take just a whole bunch of plants out today. I don't know if this is gonna come out nicely or not nicely. Let's see. I'm definitely stirring them up today. That's not the best, but it'll be okay. Alright, so I don't know what these are. I'm just going to throw them away. But it looks like here I have my hidden portion of Subwassertang moss that I didn't even really know I was growing. Well, I kind of knew, obviously, since I knew it was back there, but I didn't know it was this much. That's cool. It's like a little bit larger than a golf ball size. Yeah, I really just have not played in this tank in a while, so it all is kind of surprising me what's in here. I do want to take this. Yeah, I am just spinning everything around. There's an anubias on here that I'm just going to take off. It's not doing anything for me really, so might as well send it on its way. Come on. Detach from whatever you're attached to. More Subwassertang. Go ahead and make fun of me if you think I'm pronouncing a name wrong. I most definitely am. Half of the time, most of the time, all the time. But, you know, I call it what I want to call it. I call it what it kind of seems most natural to call it. So look at this. This is an anubias that I've just randomly put in. You'll see it in the picture of the initial tank picture that I put up earlier. I don't remember when I was talking about it, but I talked about it. But you'll be able to find that and see that these were just a wee little things. And now they have crazy roots, and they look quite wonderful. So yeah, I'll go ahead and stick this in here. I'll send that to someone as well if there is interest. If not, I will put it in the tank that I'm going to be setting up for my beta cloud. He's been neglected recently. I haven't been taking care of him, and I've been a bad fish parent. But you know, I will work on his tank, get him set up in something that looks nice and presentable. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't want to move this around anymore, but I'm dragging it all over the place. Okay, so let's see. We need to move this one back. So the peacock moss is still doing good right there. I'm gonna just chunk this subwasser tank back behind where it was originally, and I'm going to hope and pray that it just doesn't float everywhere, but it looks like it's going to. Why the heck not? I'm gonna take a few strands and put it in another tank somewhere else. I feel like I've definitely stirred this all up. All the shrimp are running about all crazily. Alright. So lastly, before we go, got everything repositioned. The mosses that are remaining are back in their place. Reposition the light right on top of that peacock moss. I just like flooding it because why not? It grows incredibly dense that way. But wow. Boy, do we look different in here. Sorry, I can't find a good happy medium. So yeah, guys, basically, you know, grow some Amazon Frogbit. That is my advice to prolonging your water changes. Grow some Amazon Frogbit. Get an auto top off. You know, I made that one for, it was probably, when it was all said and done, maybe $20. The aqua lifter pump costs $15 or so. Takes a relay and a little bit of electrical work, but I can make a video on that if anyone is interested. If you've watched up to this point, you're super awesome. I appreciate it. I will, you know, I do have something to offer, just to whoever asks for it first. I did this in the last video. I won't do it in every video, but I do have a $10 gift card to Buce Plant. If anyone is interested in that, they can go ahead and send me a message or just email me, lowlightaquatics@gmail.com. Yeah, go ahead and just email me and I will hook you up. I hopefully will be giving away a Han Aquatics coupon at some point, but that'll take a little more time. If you're looking to buy plants, my go-to shops are down in the description below. I have discount codes for all of them. I've asked them to, you know, provide something that I can share with all of you so that you can enjoy plants as much as I enjoy plants and enjoy them at a slight discount. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video or have any questions specifically about this tank or any of the other tanks, go ahead and let me know. Even if you have a question about something that's not in this tank, I may or may not know the answer. What's up, everyone? It is finally Fish Friday. Genius, but I have got a decent hold on what I got going on in these setups. So, thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, have a good one.